WWE has been on a continuous down spiral, and you know things are bad when the McMahon family shows up on Raw and promises to do better. Despite Vince McMahon's pledge, there's no getting around the fact that it's time for Vinnie Mac to let go of the reins at Titan Tower. Don't believe us? Here are 13 reasons why Vince McMahon needs to retire from the WWE. Number 1. He looks exhausted. Have you taken a good look at Vince McMahon lately? Sure, the WWE's genetic jackhammer looks pretty good for a septuagenarian, but the 73-year-old lacks the glow and vitality he once had. McMahon looks tired, and while he still exercises every day while maintaining a healthy diet, he's no longer the man who wrestled Hell in a Cell matches, keeping up with main event superstars. Running a billion-dollar corporation is an exhausting task, and Vince, who likes to micromanage everything, needs to step aside and let others do the work. Number 2. Stuck in the past. First things first, anyone who denies Vince McMahon's legacy as a wrestling visionary is a fool, as McMahon took the WWF from a regional promotion to a national juggernaut, forever changing the wrestling industry. When billionaire Ted Turner gave Eric Bischoff a blank check to end the WWF, McMahon persevered and held out until he found the winning formula to overcome WCW. There, Vince McMahon realized he needed to change his formula for the WWF, becoming more successful than anyone could have imagined, sinking WCW and becoming a billionaire in the process. While some fans question the WWE's evolution from the Attitude Era to a more family-friendly promotion, Vince just doesn't seem to know what his audience wants anymore, and quite frankly, he's out of touch. It shows in the product, and it shows in the way he does business. Case in point, his decision to continue his partnership with the government of Saudi Arabia, despite the nation's misogynistic culture and its alleged state-sanctioned murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Add in Vince's use of xenophobic angles, such as painting Jinder Mahal as a heel just because he's Indian, makes it clear Vince is still stuck in the 80s. Culture has changed, and while wrestling will never be politically correct, McMahon needs to get with the times. Number 3. He doesn't want to be on television. At 73 years old, we don't expect to see Vince McMahon selling Stone Cold Stunners or acting as an authority figure every week. Still, no one plays an arrogant jerk quite like Vince McMahon, and he could still serve well in some type of on-air role. It's clear, however, that Vinnie Mac doesn't want to be on television every week, and while we can understand that, it's another reason why Vince should go off into retirement. While we know Vince likes to keep busy 24/7, there are things he can do besides run the WWE into the ground. Make sure you stick to the end of our video to see what we have planned for Vince. Number 4. Low ratings are down to him. While it's been said that success has many fathers and failure is an orphan, the bottom line is that WWE still succeeds and fails based on Vince McMahon's decisions. The WWE's kingpin still dominates in all decision making, and the WWE's continued drop in ratings is due to his vision for the promotion. Granted, the ever-increasing number of cable channels and alternate viewing options such as YouTube and streaming services have reduced ratings for nearly every TV show, but the WWE's alarming decrease is cause for concern, and evidence of fans' boredom with the WWE product. Number 5. Brock Lesnar. It's difficult to think of a decision that epitomizes Vince McMahon's faults more than his use of Brock Lesnar. As we've not only discussed but proved beyond a doubt, Lesnar has no positive impact on TV ratings or pay-per-view buy rates. Nevertheless, Vince McMahon sees him as someone who brings in a lot of money for the company. The rare time Lesnar's repeated squashes of full-time talent looks good for Lesnar, but since he never loses, he's yet to give anyone that magical rub people discuss while trying to justify his presence in the WWE. Number 6. He's still obsessed with the entertainment aspect. Purists will forever complain that Vince McMahon destroyed professional wrestling's athletic aspect, changing the sport forever. But in all fairness, the WWE has come a long way from the ultra-cartoonish characters of the early to mid-90s, but the focus is still on sports entertainment. And granted, there are plenty of alternatives for people who prefer a product focused on athleticism in the ring, but that being said, there's still too much of a focus on entertainment from a creative perspective. By that, Wrestlelamia means that Vince McMahon has hired too many Hollywood writers to craft storylines, writers with little or no experience with professional wrestling. While the WWE's in-ring product is solid, the promotion suffers from a lack of fun wrestling storylines that appeal to the tropes of professional wrestling. During the glory days of the Attitude Era, Vince boasted the WWF was a combination of action-adventure, comedy and drama, but the writers were people who lived and breathed wrestling. That's no longer the case, and the writers don't know how to tell entertaining stories set in the world of professional wrestling. Number 7. He's a mercurial McMahon. Vince McMahon's indecisiveness is legendary, whether it's his flip-flopping on angles, pushes or other programming. Recall McMahon killing the invasion angle back in 2001 because he got bored with it, the numerous wrestlers who've been pushed briefly only for McMahon to get bored with them and de-push them, or his inability to decide whether Raw and SmackDown Live should be separate entities. Brock Lesnar going over The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 is another example of McMahon's weakness of giving in to making last-second decisions. Although the saying anything can happen in the WWE is a good way to keep fans on their toes, this should apply to variety in angles, not business practices. Number 8. He's a micromanager McMahon. Vince still micromanages every aspect of the WWE, whether it's shouting in the announcer's ears what to say, forcing wrestlers to cut promos verbatim based on scripts, or banning wrestlers and announcers from saying words he pronounced taboo. According to one report, this list of taboo words includes belt, feud, strap, fat, hospital, kill, hate, stupid, hell, ass, violence, fake, revenge, number one contender, in the back, national television, DQ, spot, and girls. Bear in mind these are just some of the ways we've heard McMahon likes to micromanage, and there are probably more. It's difficult to envision creativity thriving in an environment like this. Number 9. He ignores the fans. Rocky sucks, die Rocky die. Once upon a time, Vince McMahon listened to the fans and great things happened. In this case, the transformation of bland babyface Rocky Maivia into the great one, The Rock. Just a few years back, Vince ignored the fans' pleas for Roman Reigns to go over at the Royal Rumble, instead pushing Batista as the winner. When McMahon finally decided to give Reigns a try, that ship had sailed and fans were done with the big dog. Nonetheless, Vince ignored chants of Roman sucks for 3 years, shoving Reigns down the fans' throat, resulting in a tremendous backlash and fans walking out on main events. When paying customers walk out of a main event of a big show, you should take notice. Instead, Vince continued pushing Reigns, but that's by no means the only example. Whether it's Zack Ryder's numerous fans being ignored or treating Rusev Day as nothing but a chance to sell more t-shirts, Vince ignores the fans day in and day out. Number 10. He's stubborn. While Vince McMahon can be mercurial, he can also be one stubborn SOB. Exhibit A, of course, was his continued push of Roman Reigns despite the fans' backlash. Tragically, Reigns' push was cut short by the return of his leukemia, something which can't make you think what might have happened had McMahon gone with other wrestlers to be their top guy. Number 11. He's penny-wise and pound-foolish. Or to put it another way, Vince McMahon sometimes opts for a quick payout without seeing the long-term picture. Arguably the best example of this is his willingness to produce more hours of WWE television at the cost of his product's quality. Some analysts believe a key factor in the fall of WCW's Nitro program was its expansion from 2 to 3 hours. Here, the USA Network was willing to throw some money in WWE's way, but no one other than WWE's shareholders seems happy with the result. A watered-down Raw that fills the extra hour with lengthy, boring interviews and skits that insult the viewer's intelligence while doing nothing to get people over. The result is that fans continue to stop watching and the WWE doesn't seem to be building its audience. Yes, the WWE isn't going away soon, but its viewing audience is at some point, and its network partners will be looking to pay less or find programming alternatives. Number 12. He still has narrow vision. Fading vision is usually a problem associated with the aging process, but Vince McMahon has always had trouble seeing beyond the WWE when it comes to talent. Certainly there are some exceptions such as CM Punk and AJ Styles, but Vince McMahon continues to sign successful stars from other promotions and fails to utilize them properly. As petty as it might seem, more than a few fans believe it's due to McMahon thinking anyone outside the WWE is second rate, and he just can't put them over his longtime WWE superstars. An even darker view is that Vinnie Mac likes to take top stars from other promotions and make them look bad in the WWE to make his own creations look better. The names are numerous, but Anderson and Gallows, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Finn Balor are just a few of the superstars who have fallen to this trap. And number 13, the XFL. Come on Vince, what were you thinking? Unless McMahon needs a big loss to write off the boatload of cash the WWE scored for signing with Fox Sports, there doesn't seem to be any reason for relaunching the disastrous XFL. Sure, it's been 20 years, but what is Vince McMahon going to do that's any different from the original XFL? McMahon doesn't have the support of a major network, and he's already facing competition from other NFL alternatives. The only thing good about the XFL would be if McMahon retired from the WWE to focus all his energies on his football league. Well guys, there you have it, 13 reasons why Vince McMahon needs to retire from the WWE. What's your opinion on the matter? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.